Thank you so much for visiting my channel. My name is Naive. This is a review of Sundown with heavy spoilers. Sundown is a thriller written and directed by Michel Franco and stars Tim Roth and Charlotte Gainsbourg, who play wealthy siblings with different priorities in life. She wants to run the family dynasty, and he wants to passively live out the rest of his days on a Mexican vacation. 1 minute you think you're watching a family drama, but you're actually watching a suspense thriller. Tim Roth plays Neil Bennett, who's on a Mexican vacation with his family. He says very little in the first act, emotionally unresponsive and reticent. He plays it brilliant. The story brilliantly unfolds anecdotally with just enough information and intrigue to keep your eyes glued to the screen. There's some distance and disconnectedness between Neil Bennett and Alice, played by Charlotte Gainsbourg, and the young adults with them on vacation. They abruptly get an emergency call, or at least Alice answers an emergency call. She's distraught, but she doesn't tell them exactly what's going on. So she hurries them along, makes them pack, and they head to the airport to leave the country, to leave Mexico. Well, once they get to the airport and they hand over their passports to the flight attendant, Neil tells them that he can't find his passport and that he must have left it at the hotel. So he says that he will get on the next flight and meet them back at home. Of course, Alice hates to hear this, but didn't lose his passport, but that he just didn't want to go back home, and he doesn't care that there is an emergency back home and that there's a death in their family. He doesn't care. He just wants to continue on his vacation. And you soon realize that Alice wasn't Neil's wife, that it was his sister, and those young adults are her kids, and that emergency that was on the phone was their mother dying. So Neil ends up missing that funeral, doesn't care that he missed that funeral. He is intent on staying in Mexico on this vacation. Something's off with Neil. He's unfazed, unbothered, and he's even unresponsive to a murder that happens right before his eyes in broad daylight. Well, Neil arrives to this rundown hotel, and he eventually befriends the taxi driver and his shady friends, and ends up having an affair with a local bodega owner. They spend their days together on the beach and their nights sleeping with each other. So Neil continues lying to his sister Alice, continues making excuses why he missed his flight and why he can't find his passport and why he can't make it to the consulate because he is refusing to leave. Eventually, Alice flies back to Mexico to see what's really going on with Neil, and she becomes frustrated, realizing that he just didn't want to leave and he intentionally missed their mother's funeral. So Neil finally comes clean to Alice. He agrees to hand over all of his rights to their business dealings, signs over all of his rights to her, and she agrees to pay him $10,000 a month to live out the rest of his days, as long as he has nothing to do with the business. Once the papers are signed, Alice heads to the airport so that she can go home, and ends up almost getting carjacked, but then ends up getting murdered by the seedy guys that Neil had been seen with on the beach. So now it looks like it was a setup. Authorities take Neil into custody, thinking that he ordered the hit to have his sister killed so that he can inherit all of the dynasty. But he ends up getting released. Well, he's eventually released with the help of the consulate, and all he wants to do is go back to the hotel. This time, he and his girlfriend are hot and heavy. He goes to her apartment with her, and a pig is gutted in the middle of her living room floor, and she doesn't have any response. But he ends up fainting down a flight of stairs and is taken to the hospital. In the hospital, we realized what was going on with Neil. He has terminal cancer, his tumor has metastasized, and he's going to die any day. Well, his girlfriend doesn't want to leave his bedside, so once he awakens and realizes that she doesn't want to leave his bedside, he abandons her right there in the hospital, and all he wants to do is go to the hotel. Neil wants no ties. All he wants to do is let the sun set on the remaining days of his life on vacation in Mexico. This is a brilliant film written and directed by Michel Franco. I highly recommend. Sundown is the absolute best film of 2022. It could have been a serious Oscar contender had it been released in 2021, and I believe it was supposed to be released in 2021. It is a shame that it was dumped in February. This is one of Tim Roth's best performances, at least since The Hateful Eight and Selma. If you stuck around this long, thank you so much. Please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you need to learn more, I plan to upload at least twice a week. Thank you again, and I hope to see you next time.